Shaw viewers, welcome to the Mayor's Office. You know, we've been all around the community in 2022, so it's great to have you right in the office today, you know, and it's an office that reflects the community. It's exciting to have you today, and of course today, we're doing year-end review, and it's hard to believe. If you're like me, you're kind of wondering, where did 2022 go? But here we are with 15, 16 days left or so, probably less than that. Mayor's math's not very good this morning. But it's great to have you this morning, and it's great to have you in the office this morning. When you think about what's the highlight of a term, and I'll just say this, when I became elected, I was really concentrating, or really dedicated, I'll say, to relationships and relationship building. So 2022 was a year of opening up City Hall and getting people to embrace their partner or partners across the city, economically, sports-wise, cultural-wise, the mayor's office, all those kinds of things. So if I could say, you know, was there a highlight? Probably not a highlight, but very, very several highlights. So for example, economically, our home sales are up, our unemployment rate is down. Culturally, there's lots of new cultural associations that have hit the ground running in 2022. Sports-wise, we had provincial tournaments this year. Downtown, you know, we had the scooters and the entertainment district. So it was just a terrific year from a relational perspective. So if I could say highlight, it would be just relational quality in the city. It was terrific. Well, fortunately, I don't have to guess how many meetings because, you know, when a year passed around the end of October, I asked my staff, you know, how many meetings did we have this year with citizens or with groups both here in the office and outside? And we had over 370 meetings this year, which excluded council meetings and committee meetings, things like that. So it was quite a year of, again, I'll say relational building and so on, and really getting to know each other. So many voices across the city. So many people were eager to share. So many people were saying, here's our story, here's what we're doing to build Red Deer. So it was just really terrific. Anytime I meet with a citizen or group of citizens or groups or agencies or whatever, the common theme is we're here to contribute to Red Deer, and we'd like your point of view, or we'd like your help, or we'd like you to support a certain direction that we're going, or whatever. So very, very exciting. I don't know where the energy came from in 2022, but I really hope that it's there in 2023, and I have no plans, like zero plans, of slowing down in 2023. So the community can certainly expect that the mayor will be very, very connected to it in the coming 12 months. Well, you know, as I said before, it's about relational building, and it's building the city. Everything we do is purposeful. And really that's what city life is all about. We have an opportunity, and people have embraced it across our city, and it's typical of Red Deer to do this. We have a strong volunteer ethic. We have a strong organizational ethic. We have a strong future-looking perspective about us. So it's really, really important that the more that we get together and form these kinds of partnerships, the faster and the better and the stronger we build a city. So it was a year, certainly it was a year of city building. I would think once the sort of COVID barrier came down, I'll say in the spring or so of 2022, our city really embraced each other and moved forward in that great building way. It was quite gratifying. Yes, you know, 2022, we landed our strategic plan for 2023 to 2026. And we do that because it allows the incoming council a year to get their strategic plan going. So of course we were elected in 2021 and put our own strategic plan together in 2022. So the three themes in that plan are thriving city, community health and well-being, and a connected and engaged city. It's hard for me to pick out one of them, but if I could sort of say the overarching one for me would be thriving city. And that means not just thriving economically,
but thriving culturally and thriving as a society so that every one of us feels valued in our city, feels we have a place in our city, feels we're contributing to our city. It came together, it was a wonderful, frankly, 12 months that we had. We adopted the plan, I'm going to say, October or so, and we really started it in October of 2021. I'll just say this, it was a bonding exercise for council. It certainly was a bonding exercise for administration and council, meaning we dealt with each other and met with each other very, very frequently. There was a great exchange of ideas. There was contributions from all parts of council, all parts of the administration. In the end, we have a good 4-year plan that retains our quality of life and pushes us to the next level. And what I mean by that is that by coming together the way we are doing now, we have an opportunity to continue to build our city even greater. And I think we saw evidence of that, ample evidence of that in the budget that we just passed. Surprised me, that is a great question, in terms of surprised. With your grace, I'll substitute the word surprised and put in delighted rather than surprised, because frankly, every day in the mayor's life is a surprise. There's no predictability to this job whatever. There's just no predictability. So what's delighted me more than anything is the spirit of every Red Deerian that I ran across this year, and there were many. People really love their city. They really love living here. They have an affection for the city, which every time I hear it, it just impacts me emotionally from that perspective. It's a privilege to lead a city that really values itself, that really says, hey, we are in a special place in Alberta, and we enjoy a special quality of life here. And so from a delightful perspective, certainly there are days when people like to tweak the mayor from time to time and tell him he should be doing this, a little more of this, maybe a little less of this. But in the end, and by far overall, what's delighted me the most is the spirit of the people of this city. It's just been amazing. Wow, top 3 things. That's really difficult. Sometimes communities, I will say this, sometimes communities get tested in terms of, are they genuine or are they not? And without being too dramatic about that, Ukraine went through a very difficult year this year and continues to go through a very difficult year. When the war was declared in February, our community came together in an incredible way to support Ukraine. I was just proud of so many Red Deerians, particularly the Ukrainian community in our own city, particularly the churches, Ukrainian churches in our city that got together, the cultural associations and so on. And the general population. Our city received so many calls about what can I do, how can I help, how can I make life easier for people that are being displaced. So I was very, very proud of that. I was also very proud about how we celebrated reconciliation this year, how culturally we are now learning and valuing, the founding nations of our country, the founding nations of our province. We had several great powwows this year. We had some days, that were painful when we recalled days of the red dresses hung on City Hall trees this year to honor, the women and children that were missing. When we celebrated Indigenous Day and so on, but we celebrated it, I think, in a special way. For me, it was very, very meaningful, and it was just so touching. And then finally, there'd be a list of 20 or 30 or 50, frankly, but so I'm trying to come up with 30. The last one, or final one I'll put on the list, is a fun one. And there's a bit of a tie here, so I'm going to give it sort of a little bit of a tie. One was the Year of the Garden and all the fun we had around Year of the Garden. It was amazing. Fantastic. Everybody got in there, got their hands dirty, got their fingernails dirty. Everybody shoved a spade into the ground and planted a seed. And, even the mayor, even threw a plant in his office and all those things, which were pretty cool. But I think above that, we were awarded Canada's most active city. And that was really pretty terrific, the participation people and so on. Called Red Deer their most active city. Red Deer really, put the pedal to the metal, if you will, in June and earned that title. And the $100,000 prize that came with it. That's going to strengthen parks and recreation and all those good things across the city. So very, very difficult to pick three, but if I was to pick three, that'd be it. 3 and a tie. The top priority, always difficult when you say, is that our top priority kind of thing? But if I could think of one thing that I would love to get some traction on early in 2023, it would be the shelter. We continue, our community contributed so much into the search for the shelter this year, through the spring and early summer months and so on. Our province is okayed a location now for the shelter, and we're in negotiations, of course, with a private landowner to be able to proceed on that and go public with the announcement. So if I was to pick, sort of a top priority for at least the early part of 2023, that would be it. Certainly I'm very excited on the progress we're making around the hospital. We continue, we're in planning stages now. The province is going to come to our community in late spring and do a town hall or what they call a public facing event around the hospital and so on. That would certainly be a priority. Economically, opportunities around carbon capture, hydrogen, renewables, those kinds of things, those remain high. Hope to hear something on high-speed rail this year. That would be terrific. That would be absolutely outstanding if we were to hear on that. Our annexation project is continuing on the northwest side of our city. We have good development coming into the east side of our city. And our downtown is getting a lift. We had a sale of the federal building this year. We are moving and making plans on restoring the corner by the Buffalo Hotel, all of those kinds of things. The DBA, Downtown Business Association, came to council last week and said that they had done 135 events in the downtown, and they're shooting for 250 events in 2023. So I know you asked top priority, and I gave you a whole bunch of priorities. But that's kind of life in the mayor's office. There's no one thing that you can point at here, and say, oh, that's our top, that's our top. There's a lot of moving parts, and it makes it pretty exciting. We celebrated 700 or more birthdays this year, the oldest one being 105. And there were a few folks in there at 100, 101, 102. It was pretty terrific. I got the idea from seeing an article in the January Advocate. I believe it was, yes, I'm pretty sure it was January. And it was a celebration of a lady's birthday. And she was the 105-year-old. And so I thought to myself, what an outreach that would be if we, as the mayor's office, were to be able to write, some of the care homes and get permission, of course, all those good things, and then come out and celebrate 100 years with someone. And so we did that 7 times. It was pretty amazing, pretty fantastic. I would say the favorite part was to see the joy in all of their eyes of celebrating a birthday. You would think it would be fairly routine after 100 times. However, I say that, of course, with some playfulness. But you know, it was seeing the joy of another celebration. You know, seeing the joy of being able to celebrate with your friends, celebrate that kind of milestone. Each and every one of them impacted me in a different way. And you know, and all of them had something to offer me when I asked them, you know, what was their secret, you know, to living that long and celebrating it the way they did. So it was pretty. I got as much or more out of these 7 occasions as they did, for sure. Yes, I would say there was, although there were. Gosh, there were several great messages from them. I asked the lady, you know, to sort of reflect on her birthday and what it means and how did you get to this place, you know. And as simple as it sounds, she said, "Don't carry your worries of today into tomorrow," she said. So in other words, do your best to reconcile what you can and to leave the future alone in that sense, because which of us obviously has any control over it? But common themes, you know, that people would say is laugh more, hug your children, for example, appreciate friendship, all those kinds of things. You know, when I came away there, you know, you'd jump back in your car and you'd say, wow, you know, I thought I was bringing something to that person today. Turned out they were bringing a lot more to me today than I was bringing to them. So pretty special, fantastic Red Deerians. I was at another extended care home in the county, actually. Last week I was invited out there, and I asked them to submit any names of people that they would have that are turning 100. So hopefully in 2023, we may have 10 people, you know, or more, you know, who knows. It was great. Well, Red Deer, we've had a fantastic year, and you have really carried me through 2022. So for that, I am so grateful, and I'm thankful, Red Deer. And I never, ever think that what you have given me is a privilege and an honor, and really, Red Deer, a very, very easy duty in that sense, you know, for what you have given to me. I want you, Red Deer, to appreciate, just like those 100-year-olds were telling the mayor, appreciate your friends and family, and to hug a little more, and to care a little more, and to give a little more, and to be very aware that there are hurting people in our community that do need your help at this time of year. You know, I was in the downtown over the weekend, and I came across a young fellow, and all he had was some blankets and a shopping cart and so on. And it reminded me that we're still challenged to do and to give as much as we can. So support your agencies, support your churches, support your groups that are trying to make life better. Enjoy the Christmas season. Have a fantastic 2023. Let's work together and continue to build this great city we love. Merry Christmas, Red Deer.